Hey Scorpio, it's Keaghan again. Yes, I did a reading for you earlier in the week, and that one has been posted, and several of you have watched it. And if that reading made sense to you, great. I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm going to take a couple of minutes here at the beginning to explain myself. If you're new and you just clicked on this reading and you've never watched me before, or you've watched my readings and you're not subscribed to the channel, please don't click ahead, because I think it's important that I explain why I'm doing another reading for you. And I will get to the reading in just a little bit, okay? So as I said, I did a spooky season reading for you. You were the first time that I did, and I posted that reading. But I've been noticing something in terms of my Scorpio readings over the past couple of months, and it is a situation that I ran into last year as well, where I feel like I might have two different groups of Scorpios who are on my channel, subscribe to my channel, finding the readings. And I wanted to sit down and do an additional Scorpio reading because I've completed every other sign. I still have some energy and I still feel like doing a little bit more with the cards. And I want to just see what happens. So at this point, you have a title, you have a description of this video that led you to click through to it for whatever reason, whether you just like hanging out with me and listening to me read cards, or whether this particular reading felt like what was happening in your life. For me, as I'm sitting here and I'm shuffling the deck, I don't know what's going to happen, okay? So if this reading feels very similar in tone to the reading that I've already posted, I'll put this up as just a bonus. You get a bonus reading from me this month during spooky season. If this reading feels like it's different, if it feels like it's a different group of you, I'm going to post it and see what happens and see how it's, the views and the comments and what people have to say. And if it's clear that there's a group of you going through what I talked about in the first reading that I posted, and a group of you going through whatever this reading is about, and they feel pretty different to me in terms of tone, then I might just start doing readings for Scorpios moving forward for at least a period of time as Scorpio Group 1, Scorpio Group 2. And so you might find things where you feel like both of them speak to you. You might very much identify with Group 1 and not Group 2, or vice versa. But I've just noticed things where, I feel like for some of the readings I tune into Scorpio, and it's a place where you're actually doing pretty good. You have either a new relationship or you have a relationship that you're navigating pretty well. I get good vibes in terms of the other person. And then I do a Scorpio reading, and it's a place where the relationship isn't healthy. The person isn't that great. And I get comments from people where, it's like, well, this one wasn't for me, but maybe the next one. Or I'll get a comment from people where they're like, this person is so mean and awful, and you made them sound like they were great, and how dare you? And I'm just trying to figure out where that's coming from, why it seems to be going back and forth, and I just want to investigate it, okay? So I wanted to explain myself while I was shuffling and getting the cards ready. I feel like they are. Even though you've heard this from me before, I just want to say it because I'm trying to get as many people as possible onto my schedule that want to interact with me one-on-one. There's a special during the month of October for readings. Information is here on the screen. If you're interested, send me an email, keaghantarot@gmail.com. As a reminder for you, this is the spread. I'm going to do the exact same spread that I did in the other reading. Okay, exactly the same. The only thing that's different is I changed the layout. I decorated things a little bit differently. And so that is really the only thing that's going to make this different from the other Scorpio reading that was posted a couple of days ago. Okay? I'm going to center my energy and just ask that I get whatever message is meant to come through for the group of Scorpios that will choose to watch this particular reading. And we'll see what happens, okay? So, this feels good. So, same thing. I'm going to pick two oracle cards. This one is going to be about healing the past. Let me do another cut here. This is the card for the future. I'm going to leave this card here and place this one off to the side. And what I want to do a little bit differently just so I can really be in my energy and not have to do any more breaks. I'm going to switch you guys back over. I'm going to take this deck. Again, I shuffled this. I'm just going to go ahead and put the cards down into the layout of the spread so that those are in place. That way I don't have to do anything with the cards. Everything is done. And I'm going to switch you guys back over here. And we're going to dive into this, okay? So again, if this is a repeat, just, you're just getting to spend a little bit more time with me. And if this does end up being very different, then that's just useful insight for me. And if it's very, very different and you guys, I'm asking, please go into the comments and let me know this reading is where what's going on with me, or this one, if you're new and you haven't seen the other Scorpio reading, it's going to have the same thumbnail. It's just going to have a different title, a different description. And I posted it probably about 4 or 5 days ago. Watch both and let me know if they both make sense, if one of them makes sense more than the other. I need to figure out what's going on because I want to be able to reach as many of you as possible and help as many of you as possible. Okay? So, with all that being said, let's see what happens here. Okay? Guidance for you in terms of healing the past. So this card says, I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. Okay. I have not gone back and watched the other Scorpio reading. I will probably do that after I'm done with this one so that I can see if they feel really radically different. But I do remember that some of the basics of that reading. Okay, so I just want to say that up front. So in terms of this particular card for you, Scorpio, this is such a Scorpio card. Okay, I witness the darkness and call on the light with my prayer. This is absolutely Scorpio energy. Scorpios are not intimidated or afraid of the darkness, both within ourselves and with that exists within other people. We're actually very drawn to that. We develop our trust in other people based on the other person's willingness to show us their darkness. Now, the tricky part to that, Scorpio, is that there are some people who have more darkness in them than light. And when we're totally open, 100%, floodgates open, willingness to take on that darkness, witness that darkness, deal with that darkness, if we're dealing with the wrong type of person, we could get ourselves in trouble. So I think what's really important here in terms of this notion of healing the past, right, is to call on the light. In any situation where you're wondering, like, how much more can I take of this? How much more is going to happen here? When does this get better? When does this change? This is actually a literal prayer that you can say. Thank you, universe, for guiding me to perceive this fear through the eyes of the teacher of love. Sometimes the darkest things that we go through, sometimes the darkest aspects of our life hold the most learning potential. Sometimes people show up in our lives solely to be a teacher. Sometimes the lessons that they teach are painful. Okay? But it doesn't mean we have to stay there. It doesn't mean we have to exist there permanently. And very often Scorpios can get ourselves stuck. Okay? Now I'm going to grab the first 2 cards. This is the recent past and the main block. Let's see what we have here. So in the recent past, we have the Tower card coming out reversed. Okay? Now, what's interesting with the Tower card when it's reversed is it represents a place in which we've really been fighting against allowing something to end. We know that it needs to. We know that it's what needs to happen, but for some reason we're fighting it. We're not allowing it to occur. This can also represent a place in which something almost went really wrong and we avoided it. I feel like that's not necessarily a contradiction in the energy that I'm getting. It's interesting here because it feels like in terms of the recent past, you've just been trying and trying and trying and trying and trying to get to some sort of point that isn't this. And it's been working. You've managed to correct things enough that it kept going, but not so much that it fixed it. Right? This feels like something you need to stop doing. So let's see what's preventing you from doing that. Okay? So we have the Star card here. Coming out upright, this is the place that's the main block, and this is very interesting energy, because the Star card is all about holding out for hope, believing that something can work out, hoping for a miracle, having faith. It's a block, though. You're holding out hope for something that needs to come to an end. Okay? Definitely feeling like a Scorpio reading. So, at this point, I'm going to pull these two cards over. I'm going to say here, we're looking at you and them at this point. Okay? So, whoever this person is, whoever you're looking at, you need to know who this is. And so, this could be someone from the past. This could be someone you're currently involved in a relationship with. Right? Figure out who this person is before I flip these cards over. Okay? Let's take a look. What's going on for you? What's causing you the most pain? Page of Cups coming out here reversed. I think the biggest pain point for you in this situation, Scorpio, is that you really just don't feel like you're understood. You don't feel like this is a situation in which the depth and the willingness to explore that depth on your side is being met. The Page of Cups, it has a little bit of kind of an immature energy to it. And I think that that's really frustrating for you. It's painful to feel like you're willing to invest in someone, to put in the effort with someone, to put in the work, and to feel like that person's not reciprocating it. I also feel that there's a little bit of pain here. You know, the Page of Cups represents a couple of things that I want to talk about. You know, pages in tarot do represent communication, messages. I think that the fact that perhaps communication is not being given or communication is not working the way that you wish that it would is also very painful for you. The Page of Cups also, for me, represents intuitive messages. And I think that you've gotten yourself a little bit into a situation where you're not in touch with your intuition. You're not listening to your intuition. You're not listening to your intuition, right? Your intuition is telling you to let this come to a close, to let this end. But you're not wanting to hear that. You're not wanting to really listen to it. Okay? For the other person, what's their pain point here? Pain point here, you have the Hierophant coming out reversed. This is interesting. Okay? The Hierophant reversed represents a place where we're going against what's expected. It's a rebellious sort of energy. Deviating from what's normal, being original in some way. This is a source of pain for this person. I think that this person is someone who, by their nature, is very conventional. What I'm picking up here is that you probably have had that, you know, the cliched thing that Scorpios get all the time, where it's like your intensity was leveraged at you as being something that was an issue. Being put into a place that is uncomfortable or unknown for this person is very painful. They don't deal well with it. They want things to be understandable. They want things to be able to be understood through a spectrum of what's normal and expected. They're very much about being able to show something conforms, that it fits, that it makes sense, that people will understand it. And when it's not that, which Scorpios are not that, it's painful for them. It makes them very uncomfortable. Okay? So we're going to take a look at the blind spot. We have yours and theirs. Blind spot for you, Scorpio, we have Strength coming out reversed. I think what's going on here for you, Scorpio, is that you're not aware how much this is costing you. I think that you aren't aware how much your pride and your ego is driving you to continue to fight for this. It's a place that I think often when I read for Scorpios, both in these readings and also personal readings, and I touched upon this at the beginning with that oracle card, we can get ourselves stuck in the dark. Our openness and willingness to embrace someone's wounds, someone's darkness, we can get trapped there. And we can accept that that's all that we have being given to us. We can accept it. And we don't realize the cost that comes with that. What we're taking on in terms of energy, what we're taking on in terms of what's being given to us from the other person. Strength reversed can represent a place where power is being abused in some way. I also feel, coming from this card, a bit of self-sabotage. And it feels to me like settling. Settling for what is being given and not demanding what we truly want. And I think it is a blind spot for you. What's the blind spot for this other person? Six of Wands here. Interesting coming out as a blind spot for this person, especially considering what I just said. Because the Six of Wands is a great card. The Six of Wands represents success and victory, good news, some sort of reward being paid out, acknowledgement being made in a public way. It's a blind spot for this person. I don't think that this person is able to realize that they could have something better. They could have more happiness and success and joy in their life. And if we aren't demanding it of them, if we're settling for all the darkness and all the pain and all the trauma and all the, right, and we're not challenging them to grow, that's the thing that I want to mention here, Scorpios. Scorpios are all about rebirth and transformation. Yes, we are willing to dive into the depths of things, but we do that. We dive into the depths and the darkness so that we can explore those things and shed light on them. That's what's missing here. You have to be willing to challenge this person and help them see that they can transform, that they can change the way that things are for them. They don't have to settle for being scared and hurt and traumatized. If you're not doing that for them, if you aren't embracing that aspect of being a Scorpio and showing them that you can transform and grow out of that darkness and use it as something that lights a fire, that phoenix energy, then you aren't showing up for them in the way that you need to. They don't see this. They're blind to this possibility. They're stuck in their own darkness and pain and trauma. And it's wrong for you to settle living there with them. Okay. Let's take a look here. Hidden fear for you, hidden fear for this person. Five of Cups reversed here for you in terms of your fear. Five of Cups reversed is about moving on. It's about finding a peace and an acceptance in a situation, forgiving yourself, forgiving other people. It's about hope returning. You know, when this card is upright, it's very much about the person crying over spilled milk and not paying attention to the cups that still are up, standing, that are full. The Two of Cups, that's still there. The hidden fear for you is trying to shift this to focus on what can still be. And if this person is not able to do it, moving on, because you are not being enriched by this. What's the fear of this person? Page of Swords. Very clearly, I feel like the fear of this person is just having the truth communicated to them. Facing the truth, hearing the truth, speaking the truth. They're terrified of it. Absolutely 100% petrified. This person's mind, to me, feels very much like every negative thing that's ever been said to them, every negative thing that's ever been felt, is just constantly rattling around in their brain, and that's all that they can focus on. And trying to shift out of that and see any sort of other truth or other reality, or hearing that that's unhealthy, or that that's toxic for them, or that they need to shift out of it, that they need to hope for more for themselves, it's terrifying for them, because they've wrapped their identity up in this. Who they think they are, what they think they're capable of, is all based on all of that fear. I don't even feel like they can hear themselves, because their mind feels full of like the other people's voices. This card is associated very often with like gossiping or spying, but I feel like it's not necessarily gossip, but it's just all of that feedback, all of the other people's opinions and words are trapped in this person's brain. Okay? So we're coming up to the last couple of cards here. This is the secret wish of you and the secret wish of them. What is it that you want, Scorpio? You have the Fool card here. It's clear to me that there are two groups of you, and I'm so curious to see what happens with this video. Because I remember the other reading, it was still very much being in this place of like the other person coming in with this very toxic, very deliberately manipulative, very negative energy, trying to get away with things, trying to cause harm, wanting to get away with things, not realizing that they were caught, not realizing that they weren't covering their tracks. That's not this person. This person is very unaware of the fact that they're holding themselves back. They're not able to see the potential that they have. I think that you see it because your secret wish is the Fool card. You want to take a chance with this. You want to have hope. The Fool is about rushing in and being open and receptive. That's what you want here. It's not the energy of that other reading. What is the secret wish of this person? Ace of Cups here coming out reversed. Now, I don't necessarily think that this person wants this card to be reversed, right? No one wants a missed opportunity. No one wants to lose emotionally. No one wants to be let down or disappointed, which is what this card means. It's about an opportunity missed in terms of a relationship. That's not their secret wish. Their secret wish is to figure out how to avoid this. Their secret wish is to figure out how to turn this around, how to be able to claim this, how to be comfortable with it, how to accept it, how to allow it in. But they don't know how to do it. They have a blind spot to that. They have a blind spot to hope. They have a blind spot to happiness. They have a blind spot to figuring out how to allow that into their world. Okay? So, Scorpios, let's talk about this a little bit. Very different reading, very different tone of reading, very different people. These are very different people. Now, for those of you who are watching this having watched the first reading, this could be insight into the new person, the next person, what they might be like, the baggage that they bring in, how you will feel about them, warnings about what might be coming. For those of you who that first reading didn't make sense to you because you didn't feel that that person was someone who was up to no good, you didn't feel like that person that I described was your person, this reading might just make more sense to you. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear whoever watches this, whether you're new or whether you've been around for a while, I want to hear from you on this video and the other video in the comments about which one makes more sense and whether you feel like you're in group 1, which is the first video that I posted, or this reading, which is group 2. because this feels very different to me. The energy feels very different. It's still very deep, still very dark, it's still very intense. It's a Scorpio reading. That's just the way that things are, you know. But this relationship is different. This relationship and that other relationship are very, very different. They feel totally different for me as a reader. Okay? We have this last oracle card here. This is about how to move forward with what it is that you want. This is the future that you want. And it's the Fool card is what your secret wish is. So what do you need to hear to enable you to be able to move forward into that full energy with this person? What guidance is coming through for you about that? I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. You have to be aware. You have to be present. You have to do whatever it takes to navigate past your own blind spot, which was Strength Reversed, and the blind spot of this other person, which was the Six of Wands upright. You have to show them what it takes to pull themselves out of the darkness and to experience that rebirth and transformation. That's what's necessary in this connection. That's your role in this relationship. So, Scorpios, thank you for hanging out with me again. And again, I'm super curious about this. This is 100% an experiment that I'm running. I wanted to see what the reading turned out like. I wanted to know for my own knowledge of whether or not this felt like a different reading, whether it felt like I was reading for a different group of you. I'm also really curious to see what you have to say, where you put yourself. Again, it's not necessarily that this is better or worse than the other. It's just different. It's a different connection. It's a different group. It's a different energy. And I just want to see what happens when I post this. Okay? So I love you guys. Have a fun spooky season. I am going to do readings in the next couple of weeks that are specific to what Scorpio season has in store for each of the signs. So there will be a what does Scorpio season hold for Scorpios, and I'm super excited about those readings. And then I will also be doing some really special stuff for Scorpios during Scorpio season, which is quickly approaching. So happy early birthday to all of my Scorpios. I will be seeing you again multiple times during Scorpio season. And get into the comments, this video and the other one, and let me know what's going on. Let's sort this out, okay?